have you all with us at this year's ALS Flag Ceremony and at our second annual I Am ALS Community Summit. This summit is only as special as it is because of all of you. The people who helped plan it, who traveled here to see it, and those of you who are watching from home, we're so grateful for all of you. We're also grateful to the many ALS advocates and organizations who collaborated with us to help make this week's event possible. Behind me are 6,000 blue flags that our amazing volunteers installed yesterday. Worked tirelessly all day. Each one of these flags represents a person who is diagnosed with ALS in the U.S. each year. We set up these flags to bring awareness to ALS and to increase support for more research, more funding, and treatment options for people living with ALS. Most of these flags display the names of loved ones living with or loved ones lost to ALS. I'd like to take a moment to pause and remember all those we've lost to ALS. If you're not familiar with I Am ALS, I'd like to share a little about what we do. We are leading the largest community movement of the people living with, impacted, and highly motivated to end ALS. Many of you here today. This movement is driven by an urgent mission to find a cure. We're also here for real impact, including securing immediate access to therapies, realizing steep increases in research funding, conveying the need for urgency to the federal government and federal agencies, and facilitating progress through action and hope and connection and purpose. This month is also ALS Awareness Month. It's not coincidental that we're hosting this now. All month long, I Am ALS and our community is reminding the world that ALS is here, and so are we. You can learn more, get involved, and take action on our website. If you take photos here today, please tag on social media, use our hashtags, hashtag ALS is here, hashtag so are we. The people you're about to hear from are here sharing the stories that help define this community, stories of heartbreak and loss, and also hope and healing. I'm going to now leave you in the capable hands of our MC for this ceremony, I Am ALS Community Organizing Associate, Lindsay Ferdin.
Thank you, Andrea. And thank you for being here. It's so good to be together, doing this amazing work in this amazing awareness opportunity. Let me first thank all of our volunteers. None of the work that we do at I Am ALS would be done without you. And what we're about to see today would not be possible without the incredible work of our dedicated community of volunteers. So thank you. Our superpower really is our people. So give yourselves a round of applause because we wouldn't be here without you. Over the last 6 years, they have driven the urgency and successes of this movement with passion and purpose. Thanks to this collaborative, patient-led movement, we've got a lot of celebration, including securing more than $1 billion in federal funding for ALS research and therapies, creating nearly 700 new treatment pathways through 5 expanded access programs. We've taken more than 300,000 advocacy actions via our website, iamals.org, and supported more than 3,400 patients and caregivers with expert guidance. So thank you all for helping us do that. To everyone who shows up for this work, to advocate, to donate, to speak out, thank you. Today, you're going to hear from people who are part of the same club that nobody wants to be in, the ALS Club. Sorry, I'm gonna cry. Starting with me. So I actually started at I Am ALS last year in January as a volunteer after I spent 7 months as a caregiver for a dear friend of mine, Kurt Ewan, who was diagnosed with ALS in February of 2021 after enduring 11 months of testing. Like so many others with this disease, his early symptoms were misdiagnosis, stress, multiple sclerosis, spinal stenosis, and a handful of other possibilities. ALS was rarely, if ever, mentioned in the periphery. One doctor even suspected that Kurt had a rare form of cancer, and oh, how he hoped that it was the case, so he would have had a fighting chance. Kurt died in October of 2023. Sorry. Unlike many of you here today, I didn't have this amazing ALS community when I was caring for Kurt. He wasn't interested in being part of this very special club. He wanted to follow his own path, and I honored his wishes. At the time, I didn't realize how important it would have been to surround myself with others who understood what I was going through. It wasn't until after his passing that I realized how deeply I needed this community. People who knew what it meant to watch someone you love lose pieces of themselves day by day until there was nothing left. I found that community here at IMALS. To paraphrase something that Milkia Nard said last night, IMALS gave me the place to feel safe in the world of ALS. When the grief felt unbearable, this community offered me comfort, understanding, and strength. I am now honored to work for this incredible organization and to stand here today helping to advocate for and raise awareness for ALS. Because without our collective voices, our stories, our efforts, our relentless advocacy, we would not be able to drive the funding, the research, policy changes, and public understanding so urgently needed to end ALS. Every voice matters. Together we are changing the future of the disease. So thank you for being here. So our next person I should say is Andrea Paul Bachman. Is Andrea here? Oh, here she is. You did
All right, this is a hard act to follow. All right, here's the deal. Not one of us wanted to be here, right? Anyone want to be here? Just nod your head. Okay. But we are here. We are here as one community fighting for the rights of people living with ALS today. Those who are at genetic risk and those who are going to be diagnosed tomorrow. We're fighting for research funding. We're fighting for veteran services and caregiver support, Medicaid benefits, Medicare support, access to clinical care, and access to therapeutic treatment options. And some of us are simply fighting to breathe. We're surrounded today by thousands of blue flags, one with my mother's name on it. It's 20 years ago, almost to the day, that I noticed my mother was slurring her words in the evenings. Frankly, I thought she'd been joining my father with a glass of wine at dinner, which was generally more than she could possibly handle. And about a year and a half later, we got the definitive diagnosis: bulbar onset ALS. Sally had fought against incredible odds her entire life. She was born into poverty in rural Ireland, was orphaned by the age of 17, and by the age of 12 rather, and at age 17 came over on a boat to the United States by herself. She established a career as a fashion model. She met my father, became a wonderful mother and a wonderful grandmother. She went back to school. She loved yoga and poetry and travel, and she was a fabulous cook. Yet for all her years of fighting and beating the odds, ALS took her down 3 years after her diagnosis. After she passed away, my mother's struggle became my struggle. It was a different era in how we addressed ALS. At the time of her diagnosis in 2006, we could only test for one gene, SOD1. ALS research was very strongly siloed in just a few academic institutions. ALS advocacy at that time was far more structured than it is today, in large part due to grassroots efforts like all of you are doing here at IMALS. And after I served on the board of the ALS Association, I became the CEO of the Les Turner ALS Foundation, and I served on the board of the International Alliance of ALS M&D Associations. In all those roles, I advocated here in DC for many years, pushing ALS research leaders and the top clinicians in the field to work smarter and more collaboratively. And I had the privilege to meet with people across the globe, coping with ALS MND, holding their hands, crying with them. I've given eulogies and I've honored the determination of so many fighters. And today, I find solutions, strategy solutions in the ALS space, so we can find areas of alignment between the needs of the community and the research funders and the clinicians and public policy and industry. We in this community are no stranger to the fight. We have fought for Social Security disability benefits. We fought for a national ALS registry. We fought for research funding for basic science, for translational drug discovery, and for environmental causes of ALS. We have testified for drug approvals. We have asked for support for families of veterans with ALS and for tax benefits for caregivers. And we fought for the Act for ALS, providing $100 million a year for research funding, public-private partnerships with the FDA, and access to expanded access programs for therapeutic treatments. We are now engaged in efforts to reauthorize the Act for ALS, and it will be an uphill battle in the current political environment. You will be asked to work with your members of Congress. You will be asked to tell your stories, to send letters, to send emails, and to push for the chance to keep the momentum in research moving forward. And I know you're up to the task. So, small world, 7 years ago, when Brian Wallach came to me and said, I want to start a new ALS organization, I pushed back at him and I said, what are you possibly going to do that isn't being done today? Aha, proof of concept. You are all here. You are the proof of concept for that amazing idea to bring us all together in this way. You're a community of fighters, and in memory of Sally and all those who struggle every day, we will continue to fight. Thank you to IMALS for organizing, and thank all of you for not giving up the fight.
Thank you so much. Next, we're going to hear from Stephen Fry.
Thank you for this opportunity to basically tell my story. This is my second go-round with ALS. I'm familiar. My name is Stephen Frey, and I have the rare disease of ALS. Is it really rare? Not to those of us who are going through it. But I accept that title, and I basically deal with it on a daily basis. In 2014, ALS reared its ugly head into my family. My mom, Elvira, at the age of 81, was diagnosed with this very rare disease. When Mom told me her diagnosis, my first words to her were, "We will make the best of this situation, Mom." And we did. We did what we could with my sister as the lead caregiver and my family, wife and 4 children, helping. We had a front row seat to a really bad movie. In addition to providing home care for Mom, we also had my dad, who was 11 years older and strong like bull, but not at the end. At the beginning of her 6th year with ALS, Mom passed away 3 weeks shy of her 87th birthday, and 4 months later, after a 7-month battle with cancer, Dad left the building too. If they had made it to October, they would have celebrated 70 years of marriage. During Mom's battle with ALS, on more than one occasion, she told her medical team that she had two of her 12 siblings, Aunt Edith and Aunt Barbara, had been diagnosed with MS. And MS is the most diagnosed neurodegenerative disease, but it was never taken seriously. They never looked into it anymore. I was told later, after I came over to the same Columbia ALS clinic, I was told by the head that they were probably most likely misdiagnosed. Well, Mom passed As I said before, and 3 years after she passed, her ordeal ended, I was tagged to enter the fray. On November 11th, the same doctor who treated my mother informed me that I had ALS. And it's real significant. November 11th is Veterans Day, and it used to be known as Armistice Day. So, my appointment was for 11 o'clock. So if you know what Armistice Day is all about, on the 11th, at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, something significant happened. World War I ended. Well, something else significant happened. Stephen learned that he had ALS. Well, being part of the ALS community, I realized that I learned that ALS has a 7% minority club, a 10% familial club, and a 3% SOD1 club. I realized at that time I had a better chance of winning the $1 billion lottery than getting ALS. However, I am grateful that despite the slim odds of getting the disease, I am one of the guinea pigs, helping to find a cure for this insidious disease through the Casati trial, aka the tofersen, and it's approved by the FDA, and the continuing research, which I'm very much involved with. The facts that we are closer to a cure today, but still have a way to go, and the advances for the treatment being made by the research at the genetic level, we realize that we need a spokesman. And I am ALS, this group here of I am ALS, another group that I'm involved with, and the Legacy, they are all working toward getting a viable cure for this disease. Because we have so many people, so many organizations that are trying to stop it. And it's ridiculous. We first have our government, which is dealing with the finances, where they want to cut the research. Then we have the pharmaceuticals, all right? They just want to do it because they're getting money. But then we have the most insidious bunch of them all, the insurance companies, who are blocking everything. Because they'd rather have us sick than have us get better. They make more money. But then they're also putting a roadblock for finding the cure for people who may have the disease that if they test genetically, they're labeled as having a pre-existing condition. My children are part of that group, and that's one of the reasons that I'm really standing up and letting my voice be heard. As I heard last night, if you throw enough crap against the wall, it may not do nothing, but it'll sure make a big stink. And maybe somebody will do something about it. So with that, I am grateful to be here. I have 2 flags out there, all right, one for my mom and one for me. And it's just grateful to see that we can come out here today and let everybody know, raise our voice. Hopefully they can hear it down there at the Capitol. Don't know about what's going on up there at the White House, but we will do what we have to do. Because from the time I was diagnosed, I said, why wasn't it my brother? But it was me. And I made this pledge that every day that I can open my eyes, I'm going to give thanks to my God above, and I'm going to do what I can do to make myself useful for anything with ALS and anything with anybody. So, I'm grateful, and everybody enjoy the rest of the summer.
Thank you, Stephen. I have no doubt that you will make a big stink here. So thank you for that. And next we have Kelly Goodman.
Hi everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to share a part of my story about my husband, Jason, and his ALS journey. My soulmate and husband of 26 years was diagnosed with ALS in January 2017 after receiving 2 misdiagnoses over 15 months prior. Upon diagnosis, Jason was 45 years old, and our children were 15 and 12. When we first received the devastating news, we focused on getting our affairs in order and chose not to share the diagnosis right away, giving Jason time to process and make a plan. It was several months before we felt ready to tell the rest of our family. It was a relief for me to finally share the news with our family, as we all understand the physical and emotional energy that it takes to face the reality of this illness and then begin to cope with it. Jason was treated at Northwestern Medicine in Chicago, and we had the support of the Les Turner ALS Foundation and Clinic. If there was a silver lining to the pandemic, it was that I could continue to work from home, something that became essential as Jason began to require more round-the-clock care. Before the pandemic, Jason's mom, Eileen, was with him during the day while I was at work. When I needed to be away overnight, my siblings stepped in to stay with him. Our children were also a tremendous help whenever they were home, assisting with hygiene, meals, medications, and simply spending time with Jason. Fortunately, Jason maintained his voice throughout the disease, something we did not take for granted. We shared countless unforgettable game nights in our bedroom, filled with laughter and connection. Jason also led his own version of Sunday school, delivering personal finance lessons to the kids with the help of a slideshow I prepared. It was deeply important to him to pass along that knowledge to our children. That's the accountants in both of us. With hiring daytime caregivers, I was able to continue working and carrying our insurance, and most importantly, keep Jason as comfortable as possible. By 2021, Jason was enrolled in in-home hospice care, and that additional support was a true gift. Since Jason was bedridden, this was the best way for him to receive care while still under supervision of his care team from Northwestern. Jason passed away on March 11th, 2023, and we will forever miss his wonderful smile, wit, charming personality, friendship, and heroism. He was a generous person, an old soul, who always strived to do the right thing, even if it was the hardest thing to do. Jason never stopped saying thank you. He continued to laugh and make jokes even on his darkest days. Witnessing someone endure physical decline and mental anguish, yet still express gratitude for the support of loved ones, is truly heart-wrenching. Jason had letters written to those he loved. In mine, he included the words, "You are my guardian angel," and now he is mine. Today I am very involved with I Am ALS, the Les Turner ALS Foundation, and the Live Like Lou Foundation. The ALS family and friends that I have made from this community are working extremely hard to advocate, help find a cure, and provide support today for those living with the disease. Until my last breath, I'm going to do my best to live by Jason's mantra and will advocate for a cure. Be kind, work hard, and make a difference. Love you all.
Thank you, Kelly, and thank you for all your hard work with us as a volunteer. Next, we have Liz Osler.
this is just a one-pager, double-spaced. It'll be brief. From military service to civil service to now, it is my honor to be here today. It is my honor to be a flag bearer for ALS and to witness the flags on the lawn we see today. It has been my honor to serve my country and community in my personal life, and it is now my calling, my duty, and my purpose to serve the ALS community. I began my ALS journey at the time that I Am ALS was beginning. I was in my mid-40s, and both of my boys were still in school. I was working as a special education teacher, experiencing the team approach of OTs, PTs, SLPs, etc. for our students. It's as if I was training for the multidisciplinary approach that we all experience as our care. Not long after my diagnosis, I was no longer able to carry on in that capacity and retired. Life quickly became isolating, and I was lacking a purpose. It was then that my advocacy journey took off. I was firmly planted in regional awareness campaigns, but felt the need to do more. I've chosen to spread out my work across diverse and different ALS organizations. It is through this that I've had the amazing opportunity to meet and work with and for some of the top ALS doctors, ALS influencers, and ALS movers and shakers. While I catalog who I've met and what we've accomplished, I realized that being in this community transcends any previous experiences to date. I grieve with you and learn from you, and then share those experiences to further impact the lives of others. This fills my cup, my day, and my life. This community gives me purpose. Sometimes I am so engaged with this work that I forget I have ALS, and that is a welcomed reprieve. You're my why. It is my honor to serve in this community. My closing comment is from Dick Van Dyke, who wrote in his 2015 autobiography, "Keep moving. Don't be scared of dying. Be more frightened that you haven't finished living."
Thank you, Liz. And next we have, she told me how to say it, Lissa.
I also go by Melissa, so either's fine. When my parents got married, they walked down the aisle to that old Amy Grant song called My Father's Eyes. And it was really significant because both of my parents had lost their mothers. So it was an easy way to nod to what the family is that they had at that moment. I got my father's eyes. I have his blue eyes, and I felt a lot in my life because I was the oldest of 5 kids, and so I got to see more than some of my siblings in my dad's life. My dad was misdiagnosed multiple times. He was not cared for. He was homeless for 9 months in a hotel because we could not find housing for him that was wheelchair accessible. He never got his diagnosis. He passed away last year. A week after he died, we got an email. That email has changed the course of our entire family. When we opened that email, we realized that my dad had a suspected VUS. And I just had a gut feeling, if we lost grandmothers and we lost our dad, what if this is going to continue and we're not asking the right questions? So I started to kind of Google search late at night to my husband's. Let's just say he's a very tolerant man. I couldn't sleep and I was going to use that time wisely. And I started asking the questions from a lot of people, and it led us to the Sanos Foundation that allowed us to get free testing for my family. And at the time, we were just scared, and I wanted to just rule it out. But if it wasn't something that we could rule out, I wanted to know, because I'm ready to fight and I'm angry. What we discovered is not only is my uncle having just been diagnosed in December from that test, but my brother's a carrier, my niece might be a carrier, because my dad's one of 7 children and I'm one of 5, and I have 52 first cousins. We could be our own data set. So that is where I have come into this horrible inheritance of a legacy I didn't know I had, but researchers have told us that my grandmother had this, even though she was told she had MS. So out here is a flag for my grandmother, a flag for my father, a flag for my newly diagnosed uncle, and I didn't put a flag out for my brother because I didn't have permission to yet, but he said you can if you have an extra. So there should be 4 out there for my family. But why I'm here is I want to break a cycle. This is a generational curse that no one deserved. No one is warranted this type of a fight. I was my dad's caregiver, and at the end, I was the one that he said his last words to. So when I remember what he went through, and I know that he watched his mom go through it, and I'm going to have to watch my uncle go through it, and I'm going to have to watch my brother go through it. I hope to God I don't have to watch my niece go through it. And I'm not going to stop talking because they can't. Because my voice has to be loud enough for all of my family. And I never understood why I had to live so far away from my family. I grew up in Alaska, so we don't even have an ALS center. There's no care. And the irony is the only leader in our Senate caucus is my senator because she lost a family member. So it is time for us to rally the troops because the clock is ticking. We have this C9 gene, and that C9 gene, I met with researchers last month, and they told me they are 7 to 8 years away from a treatment, that they just need the funding. So if we can turn the actual dial back, we could have saved others if that's all it takes. But with what they're doing with their current research, the data sets that we need, we must demand that our leaders hear our voices, because it will cost them so much more to take care of my family than it would to prevent and do research. And my family's big.
Thank you for sharing that story. And next we have Maggie DeMarco. Hi everyone.
Hi.
Sorry, trying to pull it up. Despite my age, I'm not the greatest with technology. I could still use carrier pigeon, I would.
It just said carrier pigeons earlier today.
I want to begin by thanking I Am ALS for organizing this event and for all the hard work you do and for supporting so many families and patients like my father, Anthony DeMarco Pasquale. Please bear with me. I have a fear of public speaking, but my dad taught me that I can do hard things through what he did, and so I'm here today to do something really hard. This is all very recent for me as well. We just lost my dad less than a month ago. This is my dad here. My name is Maggie DeMarco, and I'm speaking today in honor of my father, Anthony Pasquale DeMarco, who passed away less than a month ago on April 10th. He lived a beautiful life that ended far too soon after a long and courageous journey with familial ALS and the behavioral variant of frontotemporal dementia, 2 terminal diseases with no known effective treatments. As my big sister Gabby so poignantly put it, time is not on your side when it comes to ALS. The progression is too fast, but the suffering is too long. I miss you, Dad. It's hard to describe the kind of missing I feel. It's not just a sadness, it's a deep homesickness, not for a place, but for a time. A world where you're still alive, where your body still moves and your mind is still clear, where I can hug you, laugh with you, sit beside you, where you're still my dad here in the human form. It's been 28 days, and the understanding that you're really gone is beginning to settle in, that this isn't just a bad dream that I'll wake from, that you're not coming back, and that the last time I hugged you on the day you died was the last in my lifetime. And someday, it'll be the longest I've ever gone without hearing your voice or seeing your smile. Still, even in the sadness, there are moments that make me laugh when I think of you. I remember the Styx and Foreigner concert last summer. Your Hot Wheels status got us front row seats. And when the crowd lit up their lighters for I Want to Know What Love Is, you proudly flashed the lights on your wheelchair instead. I can't hear that song anymore without smiling through it. We had so many concert plans for this summer too. I really thought we had more time. When the heaviness and emptiness threaten to swallow me whole, I gently close my eyes and I picture you, running, laughing, arms wide open, using your body and mind freely. I imagine you moving, talking, doing all the things you always loved, free from the diseases that stripped you of so much. I let myself go there, and in that breath, amidst the ache, I find a moment of peace. I feel comforted, and I feel you. ALS is a cruel unraveling, one that forces you to hold on tightly while preparing to let go. And there is no easy way to do that. There is only love and presence and heartbreak. I said goodbye to my dad in pieces. Too many of you know on a personal level, terminal diseases like ALS and FTD don't take everything at once. They steal slowly and rapidly at the same time. A simple movement, a hobby, a voice, a livelihood, a sense of autonomy, a future, a connection, a memory that will never be made, a say in your own life. They take your ability to walk, to speak, to hug, to hold, and to be who and all you once were. They take from the person living with it bit by bit until they're trapped inside a body and a mind that no longer work. And they take from the people who love them too. We watch it happen, powerless to stop it, grieving long before the end comes, grieving in advance the moments in the future that will now cease to exist. I don't think anyone is truly ever ready to say goodbye, especially not someone as uniquely as special as you, Dad. You were intelligent, witty, sarcastic, funny even if you didn't mean to be. You saw meaning where others missed it. You carry a quiet wisdom, a kind of knowing that can't be taught. As a pharmacist, you approached your work with compassion and humanity at the center. You called your patients by name,
You called insurance companies and doctors' offices because it mattered to you that people got the care that they needed and deserved. You saw the person behind every prescription, not just a name in the queue, and you went out of your way to ease the burden, even if that meant researching affordable options on your own time. I remember when FTD began to affect your mind, and one day you believed you were back at work while laying in your hospital bed. Weak arms and uncoordinated stiff fingers tapping on your phone with visible determination. I asked how I could help, and I remember you sharing that you needed to get an anti-seizure medication authorized for a young boy who needed this medicine to keep him alive, but that there was an issue with the insurance company. Even in confusion, your instinct was to advocate. That was your heart in motion. You led by example, a teacher without trying. You listened more than you spoke, and when you did, you really heard each word. And when you did speak, it was with conviction, especially for the people and the things you loved and cared about, even if your voice shook with nerves, or you were courageously speaking up alone. Nothing about you was surface level. You poured yourself into your family, your friendship, your work, your community. You moved through the world with humility and deep care. Your presence was grounding, and you made people feel safe, seen, valued, steady. You lived quietly but fiercely, never needing recognition, never asking for anything in return. You were simply being you, and I don't think you ever realized how rare that is. You noticed what others overlooked. Where some saw scraps, you saw potential. A pile of old wood became a grill stand. Wilted plants free at Home Depot bloomed again under your care. You once saved a persimmon seed from your lunch and grew it into a tree. That was you. You built a life from legacy and from quiet attention, tenderness, and love. Not for show, not for ego, just a steady, honest devotion to everything you touched. My dad had a soul attuned to life's quiet beauty. He found solace in nature and took deep pride in tending to the flowers, trees, and plants that surrounded our home, each one cared for with patience and intention. He found comfort in the soft rock of the 1970s, especially Billy Joel, whose songs now echo differently in my heart and hold me in my grief. He was endlessly curious, drawn to the mysteries of ancient aliens and the timeless elegance of vintage cars driving across the Mecum Auto auction screen. There was a tenderness in his wonder, a quiet, grounded magic in the way that he moved through the world. Dad, you believed in growth before it existed, not just in what you planted, but in people. You saw beauty where others saw brokenness, possibility where others saw waste, and where others walked past, you paused and gave life. It wasn't just creativity, it was a way of seeing the world. It was a way of believing in a potential and a way of being. You didn't just plant seeds in the ground, you planted them in people, and with your care, things grew. These days, I've been overwhelmed by the reminders of your absence. A schedule once filled with caregiving responsibilities is now suddenly quiet. And then there are the words, "I'm sorry for your loss," always met with love and received with gratitude, but still, each time an echo, a reminder of how much I lost when I lost you. Some days I still can't wrap my head around it, but when I can't bear the absence, I shift my focus to all that I gained. 28 years of knowing you, of being loved, guided, and shaped by you. I think of the seeds you planted in me, and how you didn't just water them, but taught me how to care for them too. That love, your love, still grows. You planted seeds in souls and in soil, and that love lives on in me, in the lives I touch, and in everyone you ever sowed seeds into. I see you now running free through the field of flowers in my heart and soul. And I know that even though you're not here, you're here. Walking you to the end was one of my greatest honors. And even when it got really hard, especially in the end, it was never a burden. It was a sacred full circle of the unconditional and tender love you and Mom, who is here with me today. Hi, Mom. poured into me and my 3 sisters. I did my very best, Dad, even when I stumbled. I hope you felt through my actions just how deeply I love and respect you. I'm often commended for the love I showed by helping to care for you in your final years, but truthfully, Dad, the greatest act of love I ever displayed wasn't in the daily care. It was in the moment I let you go before I was sure I would be okay. It was learning to accept the unbearable truth that nothing I could do would change the outcome. One of the hardest things I've ever done was sit with the helplessness of not being able to save your life. No matter how hard I tried, no matter how deeply I wanted you to stay, no matter how angry I was at the unfairness of it all. As someone who's always tried to fix what's broken, I had to learn to simply be with you, in the pain, in the fight, in the letting go. The small unsacred ways I showed my love, doing everything I could to bring you comfort, couldn't heal ALS or FTD. But I believe they healed something in both of us, and that healing will live in me and continue to shape me for the rest of my life. After such a hard journey, you finally looked at peace in your final moments. Just before your soul slipped from your human shell, I gently whispered through tears, holding your hand in mine, "You did it, Dad. It's okay. I will be okay. You can fly free now." Even through the heartbreak, I felt relief for the suffering you no longer had to endure. It had gotten so bad, and as much as I longed for one more moment, I couldn't ask you to stay. I still can't fathom the rest of my life from 28 onward without you, but I also couldn't bear to see you suffer any longer. My love for you has always reached beyond what the body can hold. Now in your absence, the love has nowhere to land, and it aches. I've heard it said that grief is love with no place to go. As Henry David Thoreau wrote, "There is no remedy for love but to love more." So I carry you forward in my love, in my grief, and in everything I do next. I remember how my dad once said he hoped after death he could become like air, able to move freely again, to go wherever he wanted, no longer confined by a body that betrayed him. And now when the wind brushes my skin, I imagine you there, Dad, all around me, in the air when I take a deep breath that grounds me in my anxiety, in the movement, in the stillness between moments. I feel you in the breeze. I see you in the soft flutter of these 6,000 blue flags behind me. And while I'm here to share my dad's story, I'm also here to shine a light on people like my mom and the countless current and grieving caregivers who have carried the weight of this disease with quiet strength. Those who have stood by their loved ones through one of the most devastating and dehumanizing ways a person can die. Their love is relentless, their grief is lifelong, and far too often their efforts go unseen. I see you, and I want to thank you. I love you, Mom. And finally, I'm also here today to share a part of my own story. Not just the voice of a young adult child, but something else too. A 10% population of an already rare disease. I discovered in September of 2024 that I inherited the same TAR-DDP gene variant that my father had, which caused both his ALS and FTD. I remember the moment I got the results. My follow-up questions were met with no clear answers, no known prevention, no guidelines, no published penetrance rate. No one person failed us, but the system did. My dad was failed. So many families still are. ALS isn't unpreventable, incurable, or untreatable because it's impossible. It's because it's under-researched and underfunded. And we know that that is the truth. Just look at how far research has come in the last 10 to 20 years when ALS finally began receiving even a fraction of the attention and funding that it deserves. That's why we need to continue with the awareness, advocacy, and urgency. So families like mine and so many others aren't left with questions that science hasn't caught up to yet. I remember waiting to hear more information about the gene after hearing my positive result. but instead I was faced with uncertainty and more grief. Grief not only for what we were already going through, but now for a future I had always imagined for myself. And while I know tomorrow isn't promised to anyone, when you learn at 27 that you carry a nano-rare gene, less than 1% of a disease that is 100% fatal, you're left with that similar feeling of helplessness, now stretched across 2 generations and an entire family line. Although it was my choice to test, and although I don't regret becoming empowered with the results of my genetic status, I still very vividly remember the pit in my stomach. But I also remember making a decision that day. I couldn't change the result, but I could choose how I moved forward from that day to the rest of my life. Like my dad, I decided to live with more intention, purpose, passion, to be present, to love fully, unapologetically, to express emotion courageously, vulnerably, even when something like public speaking scares you intensely, and to get involved, to be a part of the change. We're not asking our elected officials on the Hill, we're demanding. This is a fight for our lives. This is what brought me here, to share not just his story, but mine, and maybe yours too. Because no matter how ALS has entered your life, whether you're someone who's fighting, caregiving, grieving, helping, or at risk, we each carry something powerful. A story, a reason to keep going, a voice, and together we hold the power to change the narrative. We stand here today not just for ourselves, but for those who can no longer stand. We speak not just our stories, but for those whose voices have been taken by ALS or FTD. We show up for those we lost, for those too sick to travel, or without the means of accessible transportation, for the caregivers who often feel too alone in the shadows, for the parents who will say goodbye too soon, and for the children of any age who will have to grow up without them. Facing a grief no parent should ever have to bear, of losing a child, of outliving their own children. For the gene carriers like me holding on to hope, and for the thousands of people yet who don't know that ALS will crash into their lives. This is not just a remembrance, this is a resistance. This is how we ensure our loved ones' suffering and our own is not for nothing. We preserve our legacies by sharing them. We demand better by speaking up, even when our voices shake. We silence change. We create change by honoring our emotions, embracing vulnerability, and refusing to be silent. So thank you for being here, physically, virtually, spiritually, for listening, for fighting, for showing up. Whether you're sharing your story loudly or carrying it quietly in your chest, you're not alone. We're in this together. Dad, thank you for teaching me how to do hard things and for never giving up. I feel you and I know you're here. You deserved better, and someone like you never deserved something like this. I will keep fighting in your name, and I will make you proud. I'll keep carrying your story forward until the day the wind stops blowing. And for anyone listening who is not yet involved in some way and has the capacity to right now, please get involved. Raise awareness in your communities. Advocate to legislators for more funding. Follow and support research. Participate in events that fight for a cure. Because no person or family should have to go through this. Never. And especially never more than once. Thank you.
Here's the technology. So next we have Patrick Nicholas is going to read for Juan Escalero. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Patrick Nicholas, and I'm the ALS support lead at I Am ALS. Today, I am honored to read a statement from Juan Escalera, an incredible ALS community member and ALS advocate. While Juan is not here today in person, I know he is present in the hearts and minds of staff and community members. Juan shared. Hello, my name is Juan Escalera, and I am proud to be a part of the ALS community as an advocate, mentor, artist, writer, and leader. This year, I have the honor of receiving the Amplify Awareness Award, but this award is not mine alone. It belongs to every flag you see here because we are one community. Living with ALS has brought challenges, but it has also given me a purpose: to inspire, support, uplift, and connect with others on my journey. We are not just individuals facing adversity, we are a united force. The strongest warriors on this planet, refusing to quit in the pursuit of a cure for future ALS warriors. Through my work with ALS, I embrace several roles that allow me to serve and advocate for our community. As a peer mentor, I offer support and hope to others navigating ALS. Through the Scribes of Strength writing team, I use storytelling as a tool to raise awareness and foster understanding. One of my most cherished initiatives as a Bridging Voice ambassador involves helping others explore alternative communication technologies, showcasing how AI can empower those of us who have lost our voices. From one-on-one mentoring to global outreach, I aim to inspire others to find resilience and purpose in life with ALS. All ambassadors are the key volunteer groups of Bridging Voice. We also take pride in being the team that shares upcoming events and shares also about the services that they can provide to the ALS community free of charge. The flag is a powerful symbol that holds profound meaning for me. The color of our flags, a solid blue, a shade slightly darker than baby blue, will serve as a poignant reminder of ALS awareness. Each flag is adorned with names of individuals diagnosed with ALS or those who are carrying an ALS gene alongside their diagnosis dates. They also remember our fallen brothers and sisters. These flags represent unity, strength, and remembrance, each one telling the story of perseverance and hope. To me, the flag reflects the heart of our community's mission: to stand together, honor each other's journey, and push forward toward a future without ALS. They are not just flags, they are my family, my brothers and my sisters. My story is not unique at all. The day I saw the flags a few years back, that made my story. I came to ALS as a broken man. The staff and all the kind volunteers helped me pull out of this darkness. So when I saw the flags for the very first time, I first got upset. What crossed my mind was all the families who are suffering because of ALS. A person who is not part of our community can see just a basic small flag. I see an endless sea of brothers and sisters who need help like me. To our fallen warriors, you are not without us. You are not with us in body, but we will never allow your spirit to be forgotten. As my friend Patrick read in the beginning, all of these things were done because of these flags that are all around you, a sea of endless hope. These flags are a big part of why I became an ALS advocate. In the beginning, I didn't realize I was even becoming an ALS advocate. These flags are more than just a piece of material, they're the foundation of who I have now become. I'll forever be tied to the flags, and when the day comes when I am no longer around, I hope my story inspires others to pick up the torch, continue advocating for awareness, and to burn your own torch high so others can see. The hottest part of a flame is blue, the same exact color as our flags. It signifies a more efficient and complete combustion, resulting in higher temperatures. A blue flame indicating a good mix of yourself and for oxygen. Let our flames and flags be a source of hope and not pain. Together we burn brightly, fueled by unity, strength, and the unwavering pursuit of a world without ALS. Thank you to those who took time to hear my story, and a special thanks to my friend and mentor who took time to read this. Thank you, Patrick. Juan Escalera, the Resilient Scribe.
Juan does some amazing renderings using his eye gaze technology. So if you want any really cool backgrounds, let me know and I'll share them with you. Next we have Ron Ferretra.
Woo! Woo! Run!
As I do plays a part. Hi, my name is Ron Ferretra, and yes, I have ALS. I was diagnosed at the end of 2016, so I'm a very blessed person with ALS. I've had it a long time. I only lost the ability to walk probably 3 or 4 months ago. So, why then do I want to talk? I want to talk because when one gets diagnosed, they typically have two choices. They can either become a hermit, or they can get very angry and become an advocate. And that's what I've become, an advocate, and that's what we need all of you to do. Yes, there's 6,000 flags out there. A whole lot of them have a black line on the bottom of them. That means they're deceased. But I want to see the day when we don't have to have 6,000 flags out there. I want to see the day where we only need 5,000, then 4,000, then 3,000. Because unfortunately, it does look nice. It brings awareness to what ALS is, but it also brings awareness to the pain that ALS causes all of us. As everyone speaks, we can feel their pain. We can shed tears with them. But what we need to do is we need to get on the phone, call those representatives and senators, write letters, mash that take action button that you get on your computer from the Disabled Vets, or from I Am ALS, or from the ALS Association, or the ALS Hope Foundation, or whoever, and advocate. So maybe someday soon we can have a lot less than 6,000 flags marking the number of people that get diagnosed every year. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And next we have Wilton Jones.
How y'all doing this morning? So, my name is Wilson Jones. You can call me Will. I'm 41 years old. I'm from Suitland, Maryland. I wear many hats. A father of four, a husband, a coach, friend, and proud black king. These are titles. Remind me every day of who I am and what I stand for. In April last year, my life took a sharp turn. I was diagnosed with ALS after genetic testing revealed SOD1 mutation. Just like that, everything changed. I was flooded with emotions, confusion, fear, even regret. The strong man who always carried others suddenly needed help carrying himself. But here's the thing, strength doesn't disappear, it transforms. The diagnosis didn't break me, it woke me up. It reminded me that life isn't promised, but it is precious. It reminded me that the faith, family, and love are what truly carry us forward. I've always believed in Jesus Christ, and when I got the news, I knew I had to lean on him even more. That relationship became my anchor. I'm committed to learning, moving, fighting. I swim 3 to 4 times a week. I stay active. I stay hopeful. I am grateful. I'm grateful to receive Tolferson treatments once a month in this fight for all of us. Because every little effort is a step towards life. Not just surviving, but living. Yes. Never thought I'd say it. I miss work. I worked since I was 14 years old. Always provided for my family. So waking up and needing help with the basics, that's been humbling. Life moves fast and ALS slows you down. But I learned that sometimes slowing down helps you see what really matters. What surprised me most is not what ALS took, what ALS gave me. This disease has brought me closer to the people than ever before. It's created bonds I never imagined. I've met warriors, people with courage in their eyes and hope in their hearts. People just like you and me. ALS may try to weaken our bodies, but it strengthens our spirits. In communities where ALS is rarely talked about, I speak out. Because silence won't save us. Unity might. When we come together, we become a movement. I laugh now, I laugh louder now. I travel when I can. I eat what I love. I love without hesitation. Because I know the road ahead. Excuse me, y'all. Because I know the road ahead, but I also know who walks beside me, my family, my community, my God, and all of you. We are not alone in this. We are not suffering in silence. We are rising together. We are stronger than what's trying to break us. To my brothers and sisters living with ALS, living with ALS, to the caregivers, to the families, to the researchers fighting besides us. This is our fight, and we are in it together. Hold your heads high. Speak the truth. Keep your faith and make them aware and know this. We are not defined by this disease. We are defined by the warriors. May healing come, may comfort find every family, and may love lead us all the way through. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for that. And next we have Ashley Lee.
So, I didn't prepare anything like a lot of people did because this is my life. My dad had ALS for over 20 years, and I promise I'm older than I look, but I'm not that old. So you can guess that it has been the majority of my life and all of my adulthood. This is also not a plug for the hashtag that IamALS created this year, but it is just so fitting and has come to mind so much in the last few days for me that I think there's no better way to say it. I am ALS. We are ALS. A friend of mine recently was talking about caregiving and said, I don't like to say that I was my husband's caregiver. I like to just say we were diagnosed. And it's the truth. I was there with my dad when he was, and I was there until the last moment. And he knew about his name being on these flags. And last year was the first year that the flag added something to the bottom that I wasn't prepared to affect me the way it did. But my friend now and family that is ALS were right there to support me. And the same today. It's funny how you can handle so much and go face so many things that you think would be the things that would get to you, and the most unexpected things are the things that actually get to you. But it's really all about, just like she was just talking about who her dad was. Again, I think it reminds me of we are ALS, because those flags are people. They're not flags. They're not just pictures. It's not just a cool display. Every one of those are people with stories and lives and families and experiences. And I think that's why we're really all here. No matter how different our journeys might be in the little details, we are all here because of all of them. And I really thank each and every one of you for taking the time to be here, because you could be somewhere else. You could be doing something else, but you're here in whatever way you're comfortable with to support all of those people. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Next we have Lakia.
How y'all doing? My name is Lakia Nard. I stand before you not just as an advocate, not just as the founder of Melanin Children Matter, but as a mother, a grieving yet fiercely proud mother of a beautiful little boy named King Nasir, whose name means one who overcomes in victory. King Nasir was born with a sparkle in his eye, a light that burned bright even through pain. From the beginning, he knew something wasn't right, but answers didn't come easily. 27 doctors, that's how many specialists we saw, each one trying and failing to explain what's happening to my son. His case was so unique, it was sent overseas, but visit after visit, hospitalization after hospitalization, we remained in the dark. By the time we reached his 8th hospitalization, we found a loophole in insurance that finally allowed us to have a whole genome sequencing. And that changed everything. The test finally gave us a name. It caught the attention of the National Institution of Health, and soon they were contacting us directly. The diagnosis, a mutation in the SPTLC2 gene, a rare pediatric onset form of ALS. It explained the unexplained, but even with diagnosis, we were offered no roadmap, no treatment, no cure. Just a chilling question: do you want him on machines? And take him home and love him while you can. And so I took him home. But we didn't just wait for the end, we lived. We danced, we traveled, we laughed loudly. And my King Nasir, he was spoiled beyond measures. And he should have been. King Nasir wasn't just a child with autism or with a rare disease. He was joy, he was attitude, he was light, and even as he battled something most people had never heard of, he filled every space he entered with life. He passed away. I made a promise to him, you will never be forgotten. And I've kept that promise every day since. Through Melanin Children Matter, Inc., I now fight for children with rare diseases, especially for those in underserved communities, underrepresented communities, marginalized communities, where rare diseases are too often misdiagnosed and underfunded and ignored. We push for equity in care, newborn screening, and recognition of pediatric ALS in the national conversations and registries, because ALS doesn't affect just adults. It's like a thief in the night. It will come and it can come and affect everyone, every age, every race, at any time. The flag raised, the flag today isn't just fabric. It's a symbol of love, of resilience, and remembrance for every child and every person whose story ended too soon. For every parent forced to choose between advocacy and grieving, and for every family that's still fighting for answers. So I raised this flag for my son, King Nasir, my heart, my hero, my forever baby, my now forever angel. Your legacy lives in every life we touch, every truth we speak, and every system we fight and change. Is it all right if I say a poem to him before I go?
Oh, yeah.
Guess what, King Nasir? Guess what I did? Your mommy, the one who held you through 8 hospital stays, who danced with you instead of crying, who smiled through the pain so you could keep smiling too. She did it. The National ALS Registry is expanding to under 18 for kids and for babies, for you. Because you were here when that fight began, because I wouldn't let them forget your name, because you mattered then and you matter now. Guess what else? I got a grant, real money, to build something in your honor. I found a research team that believes in us, and I bought cell lines. Baby, one of them is your exact variant. The little piece of you is going to save lives. And guess what? The NIH is sending your samples back to me I get to protect it now. I get to place it in a biobank so other families don't have to go through what we did. So we can have answers earlier, hope sooner. But guess what made me cry yesterday? I won my first award. Not for me, not for the title, but for you. You, King Nasir, my son, my strength, my why. You made me a mother, a warrior, a builder of something bigger than both of us. I love you beyond words, beyond this world. I'll keep saying your name until the whole world says it too. From my arms to God's, from my heart to the stars, you are my forever baby, and now my forever angel. We did it, baby, and we just getting started.
I am very sorry for the folks who have to follow Lakia, but Jody, you're up.
I am going to wear my sunglasses because no one wants to see this mascara mess. My name is Jody, and I'm grateful to ALS for gathering us in this special way. I'm grateful to all of the organizations here who are working hard to find a cure, who are working hard to take care of the people who are living with ALS, and grateful for all the people here who are representing, who are sharing their experiences and their stories and teaching us to be better humans, because we learn from all of you and your courage every single day, so thank you. I'm also here because I have been in this journey longer than many of you have been alive. In 1994, yes, I was happily married, and my husband Kevin, who was 29, I was 28, and he started symptoms of ALS, and we had a 2-year-old child. And he thought, I'm almost 30. Maybe I'm just getting old. Well, we were diagnosed with ALS in 1995, and we came here right away and decided to advocate. We were a part of the first ALS advocacy for the first ever drug riluzole. We came here for a congressional hearing to change the Medicare waiting period from 24 months back then. Can you imagine that? 24 months to 5 months, and we fought so hard for that. I had Alina, who was a toddler, on my hip when I spoke. I want to share a funny story because I think we all need a little laughter. So very quickly, to understand who Kevin was, he wanted to deck out our garage. He was on a ventilator, feeding tube, speechless, paralyzed. He wanted to deck out our garage for Halloween. He wanted to put a sheet over him and put his Halloween candy basket on his lap. And then he wanted me to direct all of the kids into the garage, and when they went to get the candy, he made his ventilator go off. So my story continues. He passed away sadly in 2001, and I was severely depressed. I had all this energy. I was used to being up all night. I started working with the ALS Hope Foundation, and that is where, as their director of communications, and that is where I met my current husband, Warren Benton Ames. Through this book, What Did You Learn Today? Which some of you might know, which is written by his late wife, Tina Singer Ames, and we married and became the bonus mom to his beautiful children, Nora and Adam. And now I get to read it to our grandchildren. What I want to share is this journey. The story started the only nonprofit. It came to me at 3 a.m, Hope Loves Company, that celebrates and provides resources for children and young adults who care for their loved ones with ALS. My children all were a part of the experience, feedings, grooming, helping them to get their slippers on. And I want to give a shout out here to Milton. You saw how Milton's son held his father up. That's what keeps me doing what I do every single day. We have a camp, Hope Loves Company, next weekend in New Jersey. All of our resources are free of charge. I thank all of the organizations who support our efforts. Many are here, so thank you. We have one in Georgia, Massachusetts, California, and we provide Hugs of Hope care packages, counseling. We provide Beyond the Bunk sessions as well that take place each month. And I'm here, our board member, Laura Higday, is here. So if we can provide any information, we're here to answer any of your questions. And thank you all for being here and for allowing me a chance to share.
Thank you very much. Just so you know, if you're keeping time, we have 4 people left.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Rose is next.
I made a promise to him that I would stay involved in the ALS community, but I wasn't quite sure how or when I was going to do that. Last month I was contacted by Patrick at ALS, letting me know that they wanted to honor Scott by naming an award after him, the Scott Jones Outstanding Peer Mentor Award. I was told that this award was named after him because he was an incredible source of hope, courage, and strength to so many. I only hope that I can continue his legacy by sharing his story. I know Scott would have been humbled and proud for the recognition. Last night, I was privileged to present the award to this year's winner, Robert Lemons. There are 6,000 flags here today. Each flag represents those living with ALS, those who have lost their battle, and those who carry the gene. Among them, one flag honors Scott, and one honors our son, Derek. Derek tested positive for the C9 variant. Scott never knew he carried this gene until after his diagnosis. To me, this flag ceremony is more than just a tribute. It is a call for awareness, for research, and for hope. Events like this are crucial in our fight for a cure, reminding us that while ALS is devastating, we are not powerless. We can advocate, support, and push for advancements in treatment, and one day a world without ALS. Scott was born March 23, 1973. He was diagnosed August 1st, 2023. He battled this disease for 1 year, 6 months, and 22 days. Although after his diagnosis, we did estimate he started symptoms about 9 months prior. Scott and I were married for 18 wonderful years. Together we have 4 sons, Derek, Max, Skylar, and Romeo, 1 daughter, Zoe, and 1 grandson, Isaiah. We also raised 2 of my nieces, 2 dogs, my parents, a few other family members along the way. Scott could never say no when it came to family, and believe me, I wanted to, but he didn't let me. Estranged from his own family as a teenager, my family became Scott's family, and I have a big family. And Scott had a passion for playing pool. No matter where we went, even on vacation, he always managed to find a pool table. He loved hunting, camping, sometimes fishing. He liked it more when he's actually catching them. Working and being a dad. He had an incredible work ethic, devoting 25 years to the Chevron Corporation. In the 18 years that we were married, Scott only called in sick twice, and that's because they sent him home. Even with ALS, he continued to work, all the way up until 2 months before he passed. If I had to put them in order, some people would say he loved pool the most. I used to tease him of the same. But in reality, he loved being a dad, a husband, and especially being Papa. One of Scott's favorite quotes was by Winston Churchill. "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." Scott lived by this quote to its fullest. Giving back was a huge part of who he was. He volunteered at the local food bank, Special Olympics, and Habitat for Humanity. Even when ALS limited his mobility, he still found ways to help. His determination to serve others was one of his greatest assets. I remember one weekend, Scott signed us up to volunteer at a local kids' Special Olympics basketball game. He was in his wheelchair, he couldn't do much physically, but he wanted to be there. Turns out that he was right where he was meant to be. During one of the games, the buzzer stopped working, and we were all trying to get the attention of the kids, but that was like herding cats. So Scott just wheeled right on onto the court and started honking the horn of his wheelchair. The smile he had for coming up with that solution and the laugh he got out of it carried on throughout the gym. Without ever realizing it, he became a role model to so many people. They admired him for his strength, kindness, and his leadership. It was only in his final days and conversations with friends that he truly began to understand the impact that he had on those around him. Scott's positivity left a mark on everyone he met. His hospice team admired his strength, and at his memorial service was packed with over 450 people, proof of how many lives he touched. He never lost his sense of humor. Scott had seen a TikTok video. One memory I have is when we first started using the Hoyer lift. Scott had seen a TikTok video of nurses playing on a similar lift with the Miley Cyrus song Wrecking Ball. So he decided it would be fun to reenact it. One night, our son Max and his friend were in the living room watching a horror movie, And Scott was already on his lift. I was getting him for bed, and he decided this would be a perfect time to reenact this video. So really, he was just hoping to scare the guys. So he had me blast the song and wheel him right down the hall to the living room. The boys jumped up and there was Scott, laughing and swinging away. He loved to mess with the kids. He would constantly send clown videos to one of our sons, who of course hates them. When our daughter wasn't sure what she wanted to do with her life, he would send her random pictures of "we're hiring" or "help" on signs around town. He never gave up. His unwavering faith throughout this disease and love for his family kept him strong. He was my best friend, my person. I still catch myself wanting to call and talk to him about my day. He was a warrior, not only in how he faced his diagnosis, but in how he lived his life, with strength, compassion, and unwavering commitment to others. But even warriors must face battles. Watching ALS take everything from him was terrifying. I was scared every single day, from the first muscle twitch until his final breath. Now I find myself scared of the future, a future without him by my side, and a future of what our son will face. I know many of you feel the same heartache. I know how heavy this journey is, but I also know that, like Scott, we should all keep fighting. I want to thank my kids, my parents, my brother, our family, friends, and caregivers and co-workers for fighting the battle with us and being the constant support in our darkest hours. Thank you to our son Derek, James, and Teresa for accompanying me on this trip. Thank you to ALS for all that you do. We all know what ALS will rob from you, but it does not rob your mind, and it cannot rob your heart. Be easy on yourself, be patient with yourself, and be patient with your loved ones. Each day will bring a different challenge, but you can do this. You are all warriors. To all the caregivers out there, you are also warriors in this fight. You are carrying this battle alongside your pals, and while it is exhausting, painful, heartbreaking, you must also take care of yourself. Take the breaks, give yourself grace, and be easy on yourself. These flags, these names represent real people, real families, and a real need for progress. We cannot stop here. We must continue raising awareness, advocating for research, and never giving up hope that one day we will see a cure for ALS. So I leave you with Scott's words, his motto throughout his ALS journey, and his favorite quote as a mentor: stay positive. Thank you and God bless.
And next up we have the one and only Juan Reyes.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. I want to thank the ALS staff and volunteers for the amazing work and the display by us. These flags represent every voice that you've heard today. I'm not going to share about myself because, as you know, I'm an open book. If you follow me, you know my journey, you know our life, and you know that we don't give ALS any room except for what it requires. I refuse to feed it more than it needs. I often say that I don't have ALS, my body does. And that drives our attitude every single day. Given that my voice is effective more today than it has been in the past, and not to mention that my allergies are acting up just like so many of you in the audience. I'm not crying. You are. I'm gonna let my computer speak for me. I prepared a statement. Don't try and put it in.
Since its establishment, ALS has been more than just an organization. It has become a beacon of hope, a family bound not by circumstance but by courage, resilience, and unwavering spirit. In the face of adversity, when the path seems uncertain and the challenges overwhelming, it is our connections with one another that light the way forward. ALS touches lives in deeply personal ways, yet it is through our collective strength that we find purpose. The diverse individuals who comprise our ALS family, patients, caregivers, advocates, researchers, and supporters each bring unique stories, perspectives, and hopes. Together, we form a tapestry of determination that refuses to be undone by hardship. When we connect with one another, we do more than share experiences, we create a community where hope thrives. These connections remind us that we are not alone, that every struggle is met with compassion, and every challenge with a shared resolve. In this unity, adversity loses its power, replaced by a profound sense of purpose. Hope is not just a feeling, it is a force that drives us to push boundaries, to advocate for change, and to support breakthroughs that will one day transform lives. The ALS community embodies this hope every day through friendship, through action, and through an unshakable belief in a brighter future. As we continue this journey together, let us hold fast to the connections that sustain us. Let us celebrate the strength found in our diversity and the courage that comes from knowing we stand side by side. In the ALS family, every voice matters, every story inspires, and every heart beats with the promise of hope. Together, we overcome. Together, we create purpose. Together, we are hope. Since its establishment, ALS has been more than just an organization. It has become a beacon of hope.
Okay, he's done.
Family bound by circumstance, but by
Everyone, and next up we have Ashley.
I just have a few short words to say. Hello, my name is Ashley Toms, and I've been a volunteer with ALS since 2020. Last year, I stood up here and told you all about my dad's journey with ALS. Today, I'll give you a short version. My dad, an avid marathon runner, was diagnosed with ALS in March 2018. He passed away after a 5-year battle on May 10th, 2023. In just 2 days, it will be the 2-year anniversary. Death takes so much more than just the person. It takes away the future you thought you had with them, the time, the memories, the plans, the moments, the laughter, and the conversations. It takes it all and it doesn't give it back. But I have an overwhelming feeling of gratefulness that I got to have the dad that I did. Because let me tell you, he was the best at it. What a gift that he was my dad. What a gift that I had him for as long as I did. Dad, I miss you not just once in a while, but every minute of every day. I miss your smile, your beautiful soul, but most of all, I miss the joy that you brought into our world. I love you.
Thank you, Ashley. Next we have Macy, but I'm going to tell a little story about Macy before she comes up. So I shared earlier that when I was going through my journey with Kurt, I didn't have a community. And actually I started seeing more and more ALS social media posts because of course you say it out loud and then it just comes into being on your social media feeds. And Macy was the first person that I connected with who was sharing her story about her dad. And I thought, if this young, amazing girl who just turned 21 yesterday, by the way. If she could share her story with such happiness and passion and strength, so could I. So it was because of her that I said I need to find a community. So thank you, Macy.
I'm not a crier, but you guys are very powerful. So, hi everyone. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak today and share my story, especially after all of you guys have spoken, just very beautiful stories. So, I am Macy Wilkie, and I am many things, but for the sake of time and the purpose of why we are here today, I am a former primary caregiver of my dad, Mark Wilkie, who passed away from ALS in 2019 when I was 14 and he was 45. And I'm also currently the communications and marketing specialist at the Live Like Blue Foundation. So I'm in the world, I love the ALS community, and I am so grateful to be a part of it. Today I want to share what it's like to be both a caregiver and a daughter to love and care for my beyond amazing dad while watching ALS strip everything away from him. So to paint a picture here, it was a typical school day, but I purposely missed the bus because I was filled with the anxiety of my dad staying home alone with ALS. I watched as the bus passed by to drop the other kids off. Staring out the window, I longed for the normal, carefree life of a child, but I had to be the adult. It felt as if I was stuck behind the window in a dark room, similar to a jail cell, and I would never have the opportunity to step out into the sunshine. That is what being impacted by ALS feels like, being stuck as if you will never be unstuck. My dad and I lost my mom to cancer when I was 6 years old, leaving us to navigate just the two of us. Two peas in a pod, literally. So not only did ALS take, away my dad, but it took away the only parent I had left. ALS crept into my life at just 11 years old, and by the time I was 14, ALS fully invaded my dad's body, along with fully invading our lives. The invasion left him immobile and with little to no speaking abilities, and it left me worried about my future. This time was truly the darkest time in my life. Watching my dad go from a strong football player to not being able to do anything was gut-wrenching. And as a middle schooler, being a primary caregiver, I didn't know if I would go to high school, let alone college. When my dad passed away 6 months after his ALS diagnosis and 2.5 years after his symptoms arose, it was the most absurd mix of emotions. On one hand, I was the most grateful that he was no longer in the restraints of ALS and able to be in heaven with our Lord and Savior. And on the other hand, I was devastated that my most favorite person in the world was gone. But I had a mission to help those going through the same thing I did. So here I am today, a soon-to-be college graduate, and have been an advocate for ALS for 5 years now on social media, as you mentioned, along with storytelling and collaborating with Live Like Blue and I Am ALS. I'm not here to boast about myself, but to hopefully give hope to you all through my story and to allow you the opportunity to know that this too shall pass. That when we come together, we are a force, and we are all here in this exact same spot today for a reason. If you are living with ALS, thank you for coming here today and sharing your strength and courage with us. It's people like you that continue to uplift my spirits despite this cruel disease. My dad was one of the most stubborn people I know, but what I learned from him and his stubbornness was that when you are adamant about something happening, you won't stop until you get what you want. Because of his gracious nature, I inherited the stubborn gene, not fully, but in a way. Therefore, I won't stop until those impacted by this disease don't feel alone, and until this is a livable disease. And to the rest of you, continue to share your stories and advocate, because one day we will be right back here to celebrate that ALS is a livable disease. Until then, we can't and we will not stop. thank you.
All right, we have one last person, a surprise speaker. So welcome the beautiful and amazing flouncer, Katrina Bird.
Oh my God.
I'm back under 10%.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Katrina Bird, diagnosed with ALS November 18th, 2019. Dora, my partner of 23 years, passed away 76 days after diagnosis on February 2nd, 2020. I came to Advocacy about 4 weeks after she passed away. I am so thankful for the diversity. I was one of the founding members at ALS of the Many Shades. So it's wonderful to see so much more diversity. Dora and I didn't have any money, no family support. We had no legal ties to one another. It's just a story that goes downhill as far as financially. But I tell our story to let people know that we are here. And I want you to tell your stories to let people know that you are here. We are all here. And in the words of the poet Langston Hughes, I too sing America. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light, or sorry, maybe I need some words, or not to be so nervous. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stars and whose bright broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight over the ramparts we watched were so gallantly gleaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet waves over the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Katrina. The flouncer, that's how I know her. Thank you to all the amazing guests for sharing your words and your experiences with us today. It is an honor to hear your stories and bear witness together and share lots of tears. And thank you to all of you. Sorry, my thing is not working. Our audience for coming to hear these stories, and those who are watching it streaming. Just by showing up here today, you're sending a powerful message to Congress that ALS is here, and so are we. ALS is relentless, but so are we. Thank you for being here, and we look forward to continuing this work together. To everyone here and everyone watching at home, I encourage you to take one action today. Follow I Am ALS on social media. Take action on our website, imals.org. Give online if you can, or share your experience here with others that you can invite to join this work. So thank you for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your time here in DC.